So in this video, I'm going to walk you through painting this painting right here behind me. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to talk about painting water, talk about painting thin to thick, dark to light. It's going to be a lot of fun, so let's just get going. Hi, welcome to Paint Coach. My name is Chris Fornantero, here to help simplify oil painting so you can get better faster. I also have another show called Paint Talk, which comes out every Friday, where I answer your questions on oil painting. So if you have a question, leave it in the comments section of this video or any other video, and I just might answer it on Paint Talk. Now, if you want to see the full version of this exact painting video tutorial, you can find that on my Patreon page under the $9 tier, which I put a link to in the description of this video. And when you sign up, you'll get access to this video tutorial and a whole bunch of other video tutorials that are on my Patreon page. And if you're struggling with knowing what kind of materials to get, I put links in the descriptions of all my videos to the materials I suggest for beginners. All right, let's jump on into this painting. First, I'll start off by telling you about the colors that I'm using. I am using ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, cadmium lemon, and titanium white. And I'm painting this on a Cerulean oil primed linen panel. And I'm going to be using paint thinner, and my medium is linseed oil. Now, the first thing I want to do is get rid of this plain white canvas. So I'm going to do that by mixing up a wash of burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. This is going to create a very neutralized brown, which I'm going to lay out thinly over my canvas to have a base to start on. I'm going to lay it on thinned out with a lot of paint thinner and then wipe it down with a paper towel. Now, this is going to take a few minutes to dry and set up, so as that's happening, we can draw in our composition. I'm going to be doing that with the same burnt sienna ultramarine blue mixture. I'm going to use a small brush and I'm going to block in these boats. Now, I can't stress enough the importance of drawing when it comes to painting. A lot of people kind of separate the two, but trust me, if you get better at drawing, you will get better at painting. Now, the great thing about putting this wash down and kind of drawing it in while the paint's still wet is that it's very easy to wipe away mistakes and then redraw it. Don't worry about things being super clean here or your lines being super straight or extremely accurate. You just want the placement of things to be correct. The placement, the angles, you want that to be correct, but you don't need perfectly straight lines or anything like that. All right, so now we got our drawing on our panel. Let's start painting. Now, I like to work dark to light and thin to thick. What does that mean? Working dark to light is starting with your darks and building to your lights. And working thin to thick is starting with paint thinned out with paint thinner and building to thicker and thicker paint as you go. So doing these two things at the same time, your dark should be thin and your light should be very thick. When I'm laying in my darks, I'm going to squint my eyes to get rid of any detail. I'm just going to see the big dark shapes. And I don't care if there's other colors going on in these shapes. If, you know, within these dark shapes, there's different objects. I'm not worrying about that. I'm not worrying about the detail. I'm not worrying about all the different colors. There'll be time to do that later. Right now, I really just want to break this subject down in dark and light. So I'm mixing up a dark neutralized purple. I got ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson and desaturating it a little bit with yellow ochre. And again, I'm keeping this paint thin so I can build over top of it later. All right, after I get these darks in, I want to move on to the water. Now, when painting water, I highly recommend painting wet paint into wet paint. This will help give that fluid look of water. It will cause natural blending of the paint and softer edges, which is what you want for water. Now, I want the consistency of my paint to be very fluid here, so I'm going to start using my linseed oil. I'm not going to use too much. A little goes a long way, and you're going to kind of have to feel out how much you need, but I just keep a little small jar of linseed oil next to my palette and just dip my brush in it as I need it. Now I'm going to start with the green here in the shadows, and you'll notice that I'm putting down a mark and then I'm changing and altering my color for my next marks. This is because I'm trying to find the right color and right value of green here. This is what I like to do, and I highly recommend it. You know, put a mark down, see what it looks like, and then slowly adjust it. A lot of times you're not going to know what a color looks like until you put it up on your canvas, so don't be afraid to make marks that you'll change later. Next, I'm going to go in with the blue of the water. Remember, we want really soft edges here, so I'm actually going to take a brush and soften the edges where the blue meets the green. Now, you can do this with a brush. Sometimes I'll even use my finger and kind of smudge the edges, but you want this to be a soft edge because if you think about it, water is constantly moving, which means the shape of the shadow is constantly moving. It's not a fixed structure like the boat is. So you're going to want this edge to be very soft and undefined. That's going to help sell the effect of this water. It's also going to work well in contrast with the harsh edges that you use on the boat. Whenever you can have a variety of edges in your painting, it's just going to add a lot more variety and interest to your painting. Now, as I said before, I want to work the water as much as I can wet into wet before it gets tacked up. So I'm going to be putting in some darks here in the blue part of the water, and I'm using horizontal strokes to help indicate the ripples or the waves in the water. They're still going to be very subtle and they're going to have soft edges, but I'm also going to make sure to vary up these strokes. Anytime you have a repeating shape or object in a painting, make sure you vary it up. Vary up the size, vary up the spacing between them. It can be the waves in the water, it could be trees, it could be bushes, rocks, houses, clouds. If you don't, they're going to look too uniform and unnatural and be distracting in the painting. A lot of times I'm painting a subject where there is that repetition. I actually have to change it because I know it's not going to translate well into a painting. Now, as I move to painting this buoy in the water, I'm going to stop using my linseed oil and just use thick, straight paint. Now, even though I did leave an empty spot in the water to put this buoy, I know that my brush is still going to be pushed into this wet green paint, and I need the paint to be thicker to go over top of it. I'm also going to be cleaning and wiping my brush off very well between each stroke, because every stroke I make that goes into this green paint, it's going to contaminate the white that I'm using for my buoy, and I want this paint to be as clean as possible. And for the shadow of the buoy, I'm using a very light purple, and for the light side, I'm going to be using white with a little bit of my Indian yellow. I've been really liking this Indian yellow. I've been using it recently, and I've heard some artists call it liquid sunshine, which is very true. I feel like I add a little bit of it to any color, especially if I add it to white. It just adds the effect of light hitting it, which has just been really fun to play around with. So if you've never tried Indian yellow, play around with it. You might like it. All right, that's enough painting the water for now. I'm going to move up to the boats, and I'm going to start by working the darks in these boats. Now remember, we painted these darks in with thin paint, and it's had a little bit of time to sit, so we should be able to paint over it very easily right now. And now, even though I am looking for lighter values in the darks and shadows in this boat, I'm going to make sure that I don't make them too bright. This is a common mistake that happens, is that you're just focused on the shadows and you're seeing these lighter areas in the shadows and darker areas, and a lot of times you push these lighter areas too bright to where they don't even look like they're reading as if they're in the shadow. So be very careful with this, be very subtle with your value shifts, and keep your objects that are in the shadows in the shadows. Now, as I move to the light parts of the boat, the parts of the boat where the sun is hitting it, I'm aware that in photos, the brights are always brighter than real life and the darks are always darker. So many times I see beginner painters using reference photos and making their brights way too bright. A lot of times they're going just a straight white because it looks very bright in the picture and they want to make it really bright, and so they're like, well, I'm just use straight white and make it look really bright. Try really hard not to do that. You know, if you have to, bump down the highlights in your photo reference on your computer or on your phone, or just trust that you know these highlights aren't as bright as you're seeing in the photo. That's what I do here. I'm also using very thick paint. I like my lights to be very thick and my shadows to be very thin. I've once heard a painter say about, you know, having thin shadows and thicker highlights is that it should look like you can reach through your shadows. And this made a lot of sense to me, because if you think about it, shadows are the lack of light. There's not enough light there, and so you're not getting as much light to your eye. It's a lack of information. So you want it to seem very thin and not very sturdy, unlike a highlight, which should be the opposite. You're getting a lot of information. It's very clear. It's very sturdy, concrete form that you're seeing. So your ability to choose when to use thin paint and when to use thick paint is just another tool that you can use to help sell effects in your painting. Now, as I'm laying down this thick light paint, I'm trying my best to make a mark and then leave it. I'm trying the best I can not to fuss around with it. Now, sometimes I do, but I am really trying the hardest I can to just make a strong, confident brush mark and then leave it there. There's definitely something to be said with having good, confident brush work, where it looks like you laid down a mark and it was exactly what you wanted to do, and you didn't need to go back in there and mess with it and add all these other little marks around it. Just one good solid mark and you're done. Also, as I was putting in these highlights, I was having trouble reading them, and I knew that was because I didn't have the water, the blue water behind the boats here, so I put that in. I've said this before, painting a painting is like putting together a puzzle, and sometimes you need other pieces of the puzzle to figure out other areas. Like here, I needed the blue of the water to compare it to the highlights in my boat. As I was continuing my highlights in the boat, I realized that they weren't popping as much as I wanted them to. Now, when this happens, when something's not popping as like you want it to, or it's not as bright as you want it to, or dark as you want it to, look to what's going on around it, because something is only as bright as how, you know, bright or dark the things are around it. So I came to the conclusion that I needed to darken up my water, so I did that. So at this point, I'm starting to put more and more detail on the boat, and my paint is getting thicker and thicker. The whole canvas is covered with paint, so I am actually bouncing back from lights to darks here. I don't want you to think just because we're working, dark to light, that you can't go back in with your darks. You can. It's just very helpful to establish your darks first and then build the lights on top of that. But painting is a lot of pushing and pulling. It's a lot of putting stuff down, pushing it one direction, pulling it back. And in this painting, I did cover up a little too much of my darkest darks. So I like to go back in there and put those in. Now, the last thing I'm going to be putting in are these ropes with the flat brush and loading up the edge with some thick paint. And there you go. We got a painting. Again, if you want the full 2-hour version of this painting video tutorial, is offered on my Patreon page, which I'll put a link to in the description below. If you want to see what I'm painting on a daily basis, you can follow me on Instagram at Forza43. I'm Chris Fornatero here telling you to go get painting. Whoa, you're still here. You made it to the end of the video. That must mean you really like it. In that case, you should hit the subscribe button. You'd also probably like this video too. And this video. Please pick one. All right, this is getting awkward.